Hello everyone, it is of course me, Dan, here again with another review, and today we're going to be doing a review for a show that I've not actually talked about that often on the channel. In fact, I don't think I've ever referenced this show on any video of this channel, and that is Batwoman, because today we're going to be reviewing the first season, which ended this week on Monday, and I have now watched the finale, watched the entire season, and I decided to go ahead and do a review for the season. I've had a few people come to me and say, is the show worth watching? So that's what this review is going to be basically doing, enticing people who maybe have seen advertisements for it here in the UK to go ahead and give it a chance, because I thought it was pretty damn good. To give a bit of insight for me going into Batwoman, I'll admit I wasn't all that excited for it. Not the show itself, I thought the show itself sounded cool. My main gripe with going into Batwoman was that I wasn't a huge fan of the casting of Ruby Rose, and that was mainly down to the fact that I just hadn't really enjoyed her in any of the other things that I'd seen her in, such as The Meg, or Orange is the New Black, or John Wick Chapter 2. So when she was cast as Batwoman, as you can probably understand, I wasn't really all that infused for it, but I was still going to give this show a chance anyway. I thought Batwoman was okay in the Elseworlds crossover, but nothing to blow me away. I went into the season kind of with modest expectations, and yeah, this show really surprised me, and in all the right ways. So of course, to kick off the positives with this review, I think we have to of course start with the titular character herself, Batwoman. I really enjoyed her this season. I really did enjoy her as a character, and I thought Ruby Rose really proved me wrong, which I was more than happy to be about, because I really did enjoy her character. I thought Ruby Rose really grew into the role, especially as we went throughout the season and into the back half. I thought she was very good with the character, and I was just really invested more in her character as we learn more about her. We see all different sides to her and how the role of Batwoman changes Kate as a character. It was just really interesting to see, and especially for where they leave it off this season, especially the dynamic that she has with her dad in relation to that, with what her relationship her dad has to Batwoman. I was really invested with that, and I'm super intrigued to see where they go with that for next season. In terms of the other characters that I liked, I really liked Luke this season. He was a really cool character, and very much a character who I thought was going to be played very by the numbers tech character, but especially in the back half, they really do some interesting things with him. They take him to some really dark places, which I didn't think they would ever go to with this character, but they went there and it worked really well. I loved having Mary as well, of course, Kate's stepsister. Really enjoyed her character. I really found her to be a very nice addition to the cast, and especially as when she finds out that Kate is Batwoman and she joins the team, I really like that, and that trio of having her, Luke, and Kate in the team was really awesome to see. We have Alice as well as the main antagonist throughout the whole season, who I honestly think is one of my favourite villains in the Arrowverse at the moment. I really loved Alice. Rachel Skarsten killed it. She was easily the MVP of the season, and she was just so brilliant because she really did sell the fact that Alice was absolutely batshit crazy, but you could also tell that she had a little bit of sanity within her, locked away somewhere, and that she actually does care about certain things. And again, I just think her performance as that character was just so well, because she had to cross a very fine line. She didn't want to play this character too camp, but she also doesn't want to make it feel as if she's not insane, which she is. So I just credit to Rachel Skarsten, because she rode that line very well and created a really good villain, in my opinion. And like I say, for me, probably one of the best villains we've had in the Arrowverse for the last few years, I'd honestly say. Mouse as well, I really liked, who kind of acts a bit of a sidekick to Alice. I really enjoyed him throughout the season. I really loved his dynamic with Alice, and also the tension that goes between them, especially in the back half of the season, where he's kind of disagreeing with a few of Alice's methods, and he's kind of questioning as to what her actual motives are and whether they're actually worth going through. I thought he was a really interesting character, and I really loved what they did with him at the end of the season, and easily one of my favourite recurring villains they had throughout. And then the other one is Hush. I really have wanted to see Hush in live action for so long this season. When they announced that he was in Batwoman, I was really excited about it, and he appears early on in season 1, and I thought, oh, is that all we're going to get with him? But then he comes back in the back half of the season, and again, I was just super excited whenever I saw him on screen. I really loved the actor and the job that he did, and again, with where they end this season, because obviously they were meant to film 2 more episodes after this, but they never got around to doing so, it ends on a really good cliffhanger with this character that really does have me excited as to what they're going to do with him next season. The action in this season as well, for me, was surprisingly good. I thought it was okay in the first few episodes, but the action wasn't necessarily blowing me away. But especially in the back half, I think as the production team got more confident with the show and what they could and couldn't do with the fight sequences, it became really, really exciting to watch. And whilst it's not to the same level as something like Arrow, I could certainly see that getting towards that level if they continue to be as good as they have been in the upcoming seasons. The storyline throughout the whole season where Alice is trying to figure out a way to kill Batwoman to sever all ties to the past, I really found myself invested with that. You know, going through the whole storyline, trying to track down all these devices that could stop Batwoman. It kind of had this really nice game of cat and mouse to it, seeing who could get to what first, would they get there in time. It's quite a simple story, but I really enjoyed it, and I really liked how it played throughout the whole season. And then, of course, you have other story arcs in there that I also loved. The favourite for me easily was the alternate Beth that we get post-Crisis on Infinite Earths, where we have this alternate version of Beth/Alice who was never lost after the car accident. That was a really cool storyline. I really enjoyed that, and I really loved, again, Rachel Skarsten really selling me on this being a completely different version of Beth/Alice. It was really good, and I loved how that storyline played out and how it ended. It really did shock me how that ended, but it was just such a brilliant little storyline to have in the middle of the season just after Crisis. The tone of the show as well I also quite enjoyed. It was another area which I didn't really know how to feel at first, tackling some very mature and personal themes, but I feel like they did it in a very good way this season. It didn't bug me, it didn't feel awkward, it didn't feel like they overplayed or undercut things. I think they got it just right, which I really like to see, especially in a first season, because it just shows so much confidence from the writing team and the people at the higher ups that they clearly knew what they were doing. The cliffhanger for this season as well, I kind of mentioned this with the Hush segment, but I love the cliffhanger and how this season ends. The season finale, quote unquote, because it wasn't meant to be a season finale, I think did a really good job of just, I guess, teasing more elements that we could see in season 2. Like I say, the relationship between Jacob Kane and Batwoman, having the revelation of whose identity Hush is taken. All of that stuff really makes me excited for next season, and I really can't wait to see how that plays out. And I think it was a great way to end this season in terms of enticing viewers to want to come back for more. The suit as well this season, awesome. I've never talked about the suit. Obviously, I loved the suit that she had in Elseworlds and for the first half of the season. And she does get a modification on the suit halfway through where they remove the chin strap on it and it's just left with an open v-neck. And whilst I've heard people say, oh, it's more impractical because it's a larger target for people to shoot at and all that rubbish, I really like the suit. I really like that upgrade, and I think it looks even better with the fact that they've taken off the chin strap. I think it looks even better, and easily for me one of the best suits in the Arrowverse, maybe even top 3. I think it's that amazing. In terms of highlight episodes for me, episode 5 is one that immediately comes to mind. It's a very Beth/Alice centric episode, which was really awesome to see. Like I say, Alice is the MVP of the season, so any episode that focuses on her is awesome. I really loved the mid-season finale as well, episode 8. That was a really good episode. Episode 12 with the whole conclusion of the alternate Beth storyline. And then the straight run of episode 15 to 20 I thought was amazing. Like I say, they just knew what they wanted to do. They had everything firing on all cylinders, and it was absolutely awesome to see. And all those episodes were absolutely fantastic. In terms of negatives for this season, there are a few things that unfortunately do weigh this season down a little bit for me. I do feel like in the first half of the season, the show does struggle at times to try and find its footing in terms of character and story. Like I say, I think the tone, it really settles on very well, but there's certain characters and storylines that just kind of feel as if they're just really testing the waters, and it does unfortunately result in some stories that I just didn't care about all that much. There's a lot of love triangle stuff. There's the character of Sophie, who's basically Kate's main love interest for the whole season, and there's a whole love triangle between those two and Sophie's fiance, but then they break up in the mid-season finale, I believe, and then she ends up going out with Julia Pennyworth, who was another character who I just didn't really care about, and so when those two were in a relationship, it's just, I didn't really care about it. And love triangles on the CW, they're just something that I never really care for. Whenever I see them on screen, I just kind of lose interest, and especially with these CW Arrowverse shows, it seems to be this thing that they always have to do in every single first season as a love triangle, and I just never really care for them, and I think this season was indicative of that. I just don't think I really cared much for the characters of Sophie or Julia, so as a result, when I saw that love triangle play out on screen, I had less reason to care because I didn't really care about the majority of the characters. that were involved. And in terms of my least favourite character of the whole season, it probably would have to be Jacob, because while I do enjoy the storyline that plays out, I think Jacob as a character felt very one-dimensional to me. He felt like a really watered-down version of Quentin Lance in Season 1 of Arrow, where he was just steadfast against vigilantes at all. I like how they try to give him a reason for it, like there's an excuse as to why he doesn't like vigilantes, but again, I just found the way they wrote his character just be very bog standard, which is a shame, because I feel like Dougray Scott as an actor can do far better and really emote far more, but I think he's limited somewhat by the writing. Hopefully they fix that in Season 2, because I think there's a lot they can play with. Like I said, I think some of the storyline concepts is interesting. I just think Jacob as a character, for me, he's the character that's let down the most, because I think they're trying to give focus to everybody else, and then he's kind of at the very end of the tier in terms of importance of, well, like, which characters do we want to write properly. So fingers crossed that's rectified for Season 2, because I do really want to see more from him. But overall, I really enjoyed Batwoman. I really did enjoy this season, and like I say, the first half of the season was very enjoyable, but it was certainly testing the waters. But for me, as soon as we get post-Crisis, I think this season really kicked into gear, and it really did surprise me in a lot of ways. So in terms of a final score, I'm going to give this season a good 8 out of 10. It's a good season. I really did enjoy it. It's very enjoyable. I think the back half definitely gives it some extra points, but I do acknowledge that there are definitely some problems with this season, especially mostly in the first half. So I can't give it any higher than an 8, but I really enjoyed it. And if you're someone who's seen the adverts for it in the UK on E4, and you're thinking to yourself, should I watch this or not? I say definitely give it a watch, because I have a feeling you might just enjoy it. So that is it for my review on Batwoman Season 1, of course. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about Batwoman Season 1, if you have already seen all of it like me. I want to thank you very much for watching. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and hope to see you all again next time.